Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of UBS Road to the Election, an Election Watch series. I am so thrilled to welcome today's guest, John Savercool, head of the UBS U.S. Office of Public Policy. John, thanks for coming up from D.C. and sitting with me in the New York studio. It's great to see you.
Oh, Anthony, it's great to be here. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, John. So here we are. It's Thursday. We're 2 days past Super Tuesday. 15 states and one territory went to the polls and made some decisions. Here's the question. What does this contest mean for Biden and Trump, and maybe any other candidates that may be trying to run for president here?
Well, the election results are clear so far. Trump and Biden have won so many delegates in their respective primary elections that they are by far and away the favorite. They will win the nominations from their respective parties in the next 2 weeks or so, if not sooner. Voters in both parties have a clear they have a clear preference in this race.
Right. What are you seeing, though? We look at polling. Obviously, polling is, it's relevant in certain parts of the country, maybe not for a general election overall. But from polling and from what the results are, what are you seeing that is really mattering to voters this time around?
Well, the polling has generally been pretty accurate so far. So that's one thing to note because it hasn't been accurate in many races before. But I think people in both parties acquiesced to these candidates a long time ago. This isn't something recent. Democrats acquiesced to Biden many months ago, and Republicans were a little slower in embracing Trump, but they have. Really the full machinery of the parties behind Trump. There's still some unhappy with Trump, but for the most part, this is a Trump party on the Republican side now.
Yeah. So when we look at the primaries, obviously this is the biggest day of the primary season, meaning Super Tuesday this past week. But it's not technically over until June 4th when New Jersey is the final state to vote in their primaries. So what's ahead for primary season here?
Well, there are primary elections on May 12th and then on May 19th, and there's a couple sprinkled in between. Biden and Trump will continue to campaign in the states that have primary elections over the next 2 weeks. Both will likely win their nominations through the March 19th primaries, which will feature 5 or 6 bigger states, including Trump's now home state of Florida.
Right. We really look to those battleground states, don't we, John? Like the Pennsylvanias and the other states that are usually kind of toss-ups, or Georgia's, which has kind of become a bit of a purple state recently. So is it the battlegrounds that we're looking for here from these primary results?
Well, the battleground states, there aren't really a lot of battleground states in the primary elections, but the bigger states that are the battleground states in the general elections, they have the most delegates. And that's what this process is all about, is accumulating delegates, getting to that magic number. For the Republicans, it's roughly 1,200. For Democrats, it's roughly 1,900. And they're almost there.
And yeah, you see that Biden and Trump will get to those numbers before their conventions. I'm thinking that's where your head is right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll do so in the next 10 days. So the primary election is virtually over.
So the primaries are essentially just kind of like a party to celebrate the nominee. They officially do the voting, the delegates vote there, but we pretty much know what's going to happen once those take place.
Well, we do on the we think we do on both sides, but remember, the conventions are the places where the candidates could be replaced. Now, I don't think either Biden or Trump will be replaced, but if something were to happen to either one, they would be important because they would decide who the nominee would be going forward.
So the conventions are just as important as they have been in the past. Don't assume anything.
Right, don't assume anything. This year could be very different. For a long time, America used to nominate presidents at the conventions, and that stopped about 115 years ago. Mm-hmm. So that could be revived if, for instance, Joe Biden were to step down because of bad polling or bad health, or if Donald Trump were to step down because of his legal problems.
Right. A lot to look out for. What about third-party candidates, John? Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s name certainly gets tossed around here and there. Any others that perhaps you think could maybe stir things up a little bit here?
Well, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is polling at about 9% nationally, which is pretty good. Not enough to really make a major impact on the election result, but more importantly, the No Labels movement will very soon announce whether it will have a candidate. That'll be a more centrist candidate, and I suspect that that party combined, if they do field a nominee, coupled with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., would be a pretty significant third-party offering to voters. And if you get up to, if 25 or 30% people support a third-party candidate, it will certainly have an election on the impact and probably take more votes away from Biden than Trump, but that remains to be seen.
Right. So, John, you mentioned the No Labels Party. For the benefit of our audience, tell them a little bit about who they are.
Yeah, well, No Labels is different because it's centrist, and at a time when there's so much partisanship in America, that is something that a lot of people are drawn to. They're gonna, I believe that they will field a candidate. They will likely have a Republican for president, Democrat for vice president. That kind of bipartisan ticket could appeal to a lot of people and will appeal to some people. Now, whether it'll appeal to enough people remains to be seen. We don't know who those candidates are, but I expect a decision on their part very, very soon.
Yeah, making the race even more and more interesting. All right, John, so as we're wrapping up, what are some maybe last-minute things that you want to share with our audience today that they should be really looking out for over the next weeks and months here?
Watch the No Labels decision. See who they nominate to be their candidate. That will be a very big event. Otherwise, it's going to be slow going until the conventions. The conventions could play an outside role this year. The Republican conventions in July, Democratic conventions in August. They could be big this year.
Yeah, love to get you back here after the conventions are over because I'm sure we'll be able to glean a lot from those. So good to see you. Thanks for coming in, John.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank
John
you.
Savercool again from the UBS U.S. Office of Public Policy. So for more information on this show and everything going on election-wise, please visit our website at ubs.com/election-watch. The UBS Road to the Election video series is on that site, plus tons of other content coming out of John's group and, of course, our Chief Investment Office. And if you'd like to continue this conversation, which we hope you will, make sure you're reaching out to your financial advisor. Until next time, I'm Anthony Pastore. We hope you all have a great day, everybody. We'll see you soon.